Shocking new video comes out today. Kamala Harris mocking someone at her rally saying, Jesus is Lord. And her response to the whole group on camera is, you're at the wrong rally. Coupling that with some really big mistakes. First off, we're going to look at the video in just a little bit. We'll also look at Gretchen mocking the Eucharist. We'll look at this weird video that was released last night by Kamala Harris, this SNL skit that thousands, hundreds of thousands of Catholics are offended by. They're upset about it. I wrote this morning because I was thinking about it. Kamala has a Catholic problem. Kamala, her campaign, Gretchen Whitmer, have committed a fatal mistake. They're aggressively mocking the largest religion in America, and that's Catholicism. Catholicism is the biggest religion in the USA at 21.8%. That's over 1 in 5 people in America, according to 2020. It's probably larger now in 2024. In terms of voting numbers, Catholics account for 75 million votes. And many of these Catholics are concentrated in key swing states: Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin. Lots of Catholics in Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, too. Big Catholic country. So Catholics are key to winning the Electoral College. And Kamala Harris doesn't seem to know or care. And by her recent statement, by this video I'm about to show you, by her cheesy Saturday Night Live video in FaceTime video, whatever she just did last night, she's literally pushing Catholics into the arms of Donald Trump. Do you agree? I'm going to show you the video. This is a Kamala Harris rally. In the first clip I'm going to show you, you can't really hear the person in the rally. I'll show you a second video where you can hear it. He says, Jesus is Lord, loudly. And she says, oh, you're at the wrong rally. Here it is.
It's now streaming on HBO Max.
Video.
Is there anything that you think that maybe I shouldn't bring up tonight?
Well,
Here
don't
it
lie.
is.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
So the person said, Jesus is Lord. She heard it. And she said, oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. Presuming that anyone who believes in Jesus as Lord would not be at a Kamala Harris rally, which at the end of the day, I got to kind of admit, because this rally was, as we hear from someone else, primarily about the A word, what they call reproductive rights. All right, so she mocked it. She continues to go on. Here she goes.
No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
Rubbing their nose in it. Crowd goes wild, right? The crowd knows someone said Jesus is Lord. She says, you're at the wrong rally. You need to go to the smaller one down the street. She's loving it. Look at her. Waves them goodbye. Come on. She's so self-satisfied, so tone deaf, isn't she? Now, some people are saying, well, did someone really say that? Here's the beginning again.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Okay, so here is another clip. Oh, well, here's this horrible thing. Democrats just mocking Catholics. 75 million voters in your face, mocking, ridiculous. But here's this one here.
So if you,
I'm going to fast forward it a little bit.
For killing babies. So that, but everyone just cheered and screamed for killing babies. So that was disappointing. Anyway, here she is.
did you hear that?
So
Some
there it is. All right. If you believe Jesus is Lord, Kamala doesn't want you. You're at the wrong rally. You're in the wrong party. Her platform is, the Democrat platform is, if you believe Jesus is Lord, you're at the wrong rally. You need to go to the smaller rally, she calls it, down the street. Do you agree with her? And when have we ever, in the history of the United States of America, had a presidential candidate mock the belief Jesus is Lord? I don't believe Kamala believes Jesus is Lord, so I get that. But that you would throw down at a rally on camera, be recorded, and say, you're not welcome here. You're at the wrong rally. She's being honest, but it's political suicide. I'm also going to show you this clip. Remember back, I don't know if it was the 90s, there was this girl here. Mary Catherine, she was like a parochial schoolgirl, and she was weird, and she smelled her armpits. Really gross and weird. Now that I'm like a grown man, I'm like, this is foul, disgusting, terrible, and degenerate. It's not even funny. I'm going to show you some of the clips of it. She says to Kamala, hey, Catholics are really forgiving people. Jesus is the ultimate fact checker. Election contests violate the 10 Commandments. The Al Smith dinner, which Kamala didn't go to, it's a Catholic dinner for the past several decades. Every presidential candidate has attended it. It's hosted by the Cardinal Archbishop of New York. It's a fundraiser for children. Kamala just ghosted it. She didn't go. She sent in this cringe-maxing video. And in that video, Kamala says, I would never insult Catholics. Why does she have to even say that? Because we all believe that she does. She insults the name of Jesus Christ. And that's today's podcast. I'm going to show you now this little video here. But before I do, today's podcast is sponsored by one of my favorite sponsors, and that is My Pillow. I've known Mike Lindell. I've been on stage with them. I've been on camera with them before. And we all know the importance of a good sleep. And My Pillow has been a game changer for me. They've closed. Another big box store has now banished and canceled My Pillow once again. So they're passing on these incredible savings and offers to you, our listeners. The standard My Pillow is $49.98, but for a limited time, you can get it for $14.98. There is a limit on 10, which is great for me. I got 8 kids, my wife, me, that's 10. Works great. It's filled with patented adjustable fill, which means it adjusts to your exact needs, regardless of your sleep position, and it keeps your neck aligned. I have a little tightness on the right side of my neck from jiu-jitsu, too many headlocks. And having a right pillow keeps the shape, keeps the pattern, keeps the alignment all night long, and you need it. There's also a 6-piece kitchen or bath towel set for $25, and you can also get the My Pillow bed sheets for as low as $25 and so much more. But I'm telling you, today was my first day. I said, I'm doing a My Pillow read because today was my first day. I wore the My Pillow slippers. I get a new pair of slippers every 2 to 4 years. This year I got the My Pillow. Today was my first day to wear them because it was cold outside and I wanted to go outside with the dogs. And the first thing I noticed about them, they got an amazing sole, a rubber sole. So when you go outside, the leather doesn't get wet and they're extremely comfortable, like a sneaker filled with fur. I was like, this is amazing. I'm going to do a My Pillow read today. So I'd encourage you to get the My Pillow slippers. They're great, especially if you go outside in your slippers. You want these slippers because of the sole. So for a limited time, you can get these offers. The offers won't last forever. Go to mypillow.com/Taylor and use the promo code Taylor or call 800-862-9197 and get huge discounts, including that standard size My Pillow for only $14.98, the lowest price ever. Order today, mypillow.com/Taylor, and use the promo code Taylor. That's my name, Taylor. All right, back to Kamala. By the way, Kamala hates my pillow. My pillow is like the Donald Trump pillow, official pillow. Kamala Harris, I want to show parts of this video. As a Catholic, I watched it. I realize not everybody who watches the Dr. Taylor Marshall podcast is Catholic. I am a Catholic. I used to be a Protestant. Now I'm a Catholic. So I feel like I can understand both sides of the coin. As I watched it, I just cringed because it wasn't funny. It's a rehashing of an old Saturday Night Live skit that, honestly, now that I look back on it, was making fun of Catholic schoolgirls for being kind of weird, perverted, etc. So somebody in Kamala's team, or maybe Kamala herself, thought, hey, since I'm not going to the Al Smith dinner, which is a fundraiser in which both presidential candidates come, it's been done for decades and decades and decades. She ghosted it. She's not showing. She instead went to a rally and talked about the A word, which is what she's running on. And the only reason she has as much popular vote is because, I'm going to say something controversial here. It is because as a society, we have become so degenerate and so inverted that the number one need for over half the electorate, women, according to polls, the number one issue is the A word, the A to the B. That's the number one thing. And Kamala realizes this. All right. So I just said Catholics are 21% of American population. Women are over 50%. All right. So locking down, first of all, inspiring that demographic to live a life that is dangerous, promiscuous, immoral, and then encouraging them, don't get married, don't have a family, and instead live this lifestyle. And then, if you get pregnant, now you can't be a career girl. So now you have to make use of this that we're offering you. So it's a giant scheme. It's a giant matrix. Kamala, the Blue Party, they know that this is baked into American society and they're running on it. This is the main issue that she's running on. She's not likable. She cackles. When she was on Brett Baer, she could not articulate any of her positions. She said to Brett, you know what I'm talking about? And Brett said, I don't know what you're talking about, lady. She got angry. She got defensive. She's pointing her finger. And since that Brett interview, and then in her last rally last night, she's taken on the persona of the angry, mean, over-talking woman. Like the video if you agree. Have you observed that Kamala's taken over the role, the persona, and maybe it is her real persona, of the angry, loud, shouting, over-talking, overbearing woman? It is the, I demand to see the manager. Donald Trump didn't cook my eggs right. I demand to see the manager. And maybe that angry girl boss, I'm going to go fight, is rallying that angry blue-haired base. That all they want is the A word. But I don't see it capturing the hearts of men. She's also desperate. She's got Obama out there saying, hey, black men, if you're really a brother, you got to vote for Kamala. And working that old Democrat guilt trip on them. I don't really see the angry, over-talking woman capturing those demographics. So she's got she's got a male problem, the black male problem, and now she's attacking the largest religion in America, Catholicism, 21%. Kind of like, the word I want to use is, I can't use, but it's self-damaging. And it's like, the serpent that consumes itself. They're so many lies, there's so much degeneracy that it begins to collapse upon itself. And that's what we're seeing. Now, the scary thing is, before I show the video, the scary thing is, and I'm talking to you ladies, I know the ladies who watch the Taylor Marshall podcast are solidly 100% pro-life, no exceptions. I know you ladies. And I'm going to open up the comments and the questions. I want to hear from you ladies. But the problem in America is that we have a Taylor Swift generation, not a Taylor Marshall generation, a Taylor Swift generation that believes the greatest issue of our time is the A word. And not just access to A word, government subsidies, exporting it to other nations, making it enforceable for government medical care, insurance companies. Same thing with contraception. Forcing it, making it standard, making it normal, making it good, making it a right. And by the way, all rights are based on natural law. Natural law is the law of God written on every human heart. Whether you're a child, an old person, a male, a female, whether you are a Catholic, a Protestant, a Muslim, a Hindu, a Jew, an atheist, a Sikh, every single person, the Catholic Church teaches, also taught by St. Thomas Aquinas, every single person has the natural law inscribed on their heart. And to take the life of an innocent one is always against natural law. So they'll say, oh, it's a religious issue. It is a religious issue, but it's also contrary to natural law. Every person deep down knows it's wrong. And that's why it's still such a controversy. But the problem we have, ladies, is that most of the ladies out there, and a lot of the guys too, but it's vocally a woman's issue, understandably, is they want to have access and funding and the right. And that is the issue. If that weren't an issue, if somehow that disappeared, what else could this woman run on? What policy, what experience, what political expertise, what record, what international experience, military experience? Nothing. The fact is, she was chosen because she's a woman of color and she is stridently promoting the A word. Am I right or am I wrong? All right, I'm going to show you another. Here she is. Oh, this is the wrong one. I'm going to show you this is Gretchen, governor of Michigan, mocking the Eucharist. And that's just horrible. Just horrible.
Oh,
okay, so
hey, what's going on?
This is this.
I'm giving
cringe maxing video that Kamala sent in. She didn't show up for the Al Smith dinner, which she's supposed to do. There were other Democrats there. She didn't go. Donald was there. Melania was there. Cardinal Dolan was there. Jim Gaffigan was there. He's a Catholic comedian. He was roasting her. He said, this reminds me of when I FaceTimed in to my kid's violin recital. It's like, what is this? It's a thrown together video with an outdated SNL character that probably anyone under 35 doesn't even know what the heck is going on here. All right. And there's a lot of offhanded references to Catholicism in the video. I don't know who thought this would be funny.
speech. Do you have some thoughts about what I might say tonight?
My feelings about what you should say tonight would be best expressed in a monologue from one of my favorite made-for-TV series.
Okay, let's hear it.
Don't you see, man?
This is horrible. I'm going to skip this part, okay? I'm not going to subject you to that. This is my good deed of the day, is not letting you see that part of the video.
So there will be a fact checker there tonight.
Oh, especially thy neighbor's election.
Lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness to
We
Hold
have
on.
tonight?
well, don't, Max.
Is there anything that you think that maybe I shouldn't bring up tonight?
Well, don't lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness to thy neighbor.
Indeed, especially thy neighbor's election results.
Just so you know, there will be a
I
fact
hope she stays true to that, by the way.
checker there tonight.
Oh, that's great. Who?
Jesus. And maybe don't say anything negative about Catholics.
I would never do that, no matter where I was. That would be like criticizing Detroit in Detroit.
So she took this moment. Again, everything is like, I'm going to take this and then just diss Donald Trump, right? It's like I'm all about the A word, and then I'm going to bring up something about Donald in Detroit.
Does it bother you that that Trump guy insults you all the time? Because it really bothers my friends and me.
Oh, Mary Catherine, it's very important to always remember you should never let anyone tell you who you are. You tell them who you are.
Ooh.
Haters gonna hate, hate, hate. Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Good for you, Mary Catherine.
Oh, yeah, okay. And also remember one more thing. Don't worry if you make a mistake, because Catholic people are very forgiving. Yeah. And also, one last thing I want to tell you, don't forget to say, superstar.
I can't. I just can't. It feels like, you know, on Sesame Street, back in the day, they would bring in celebrities. Like when I was a kid, it was just Snuffleupagus and the garbage pail guy. What's his name? What's the green dude in the trash can? Grouch, Oscar the Grouch. My favorite guy was the Count Dracula. I like math. I've taught math. Math's a thing for me. So a vampire who counts as a kid, I thought that was great, Count Dracula. But later on, they started like, hey, let's bring in some celebrities like, I don't know, J-Lo or, I don't know, musicians. We'll bring them on the set of Sesame Street. And then these famous people that you kind of recognize are having conversations with Muppets over childless topics, right? That's kind of what the vibe here feels like. Kamala Harris just rolled up on Sesame Street with Snuffleupagus and Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch, Bert and Ernie, and she's trying to have some conversation with a character. It's so cringe. This is, somebody noted that Kamala Harris didn't even share this on her social medias. I think as soon as it was shot and sent in, everyone was like, this sucks. This is bad. This is bad. And she said, I would never insult Catholics. But, you know, this thing opens up with the girl here, the actress, saying, this is the most important dinner after the Last Supper, and all these sort of statements and stereotypes and cliches about Catholics. And, you know, if the table were turned and they did this, let's say, on Judaism, and, you know, just put some, I'm not going to say them, but you know what they are. I'm not going to say them, but you know what they are. Okay. And started doing some tropes, cliches, you know, about Jewish culture, Jewish women, Jewish men, something like that. The entire world would be burning down. CNN would be just melting down, you know, or if they did it about Islam and just had some throwaway phrases about stereotypes about Muslims, and you know what they are. I'm not going to say them, right? They're all going through your brain right now. I'm not going to say them, but you know what they are. Or Hindus, you know, what they did, you know, they threw out some stereotypes or misunderstandings or cliches about Hindus and people who live in India. They did that with this, with some Saturday Night Live character. People will be freaking out. But you come in and you give a 1, 2, 3 combo to Catholicism, and it's ha, ha, ha. No big deal. And then Kamala's going to cover it with, I would never say anything bad about Catholics like Trump said about Detroit and Detroit. It's just tiresome and tedious. Get this lady out of here. All right, I'm going to do your comments and your questions. We have a lot of people. Welcome to the Dr. Taylor Marshall podcast. How are you today? TGIF. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. That's the most important thing. You don't want to miss the great conversations we're having over here with, by the way, my audience is the highest IQ, most informed, religiously informed. Audience on all of YouTube, on all the internet, on Rumble, Twitter, Facebook. Just wait till we get to the comments and the questions. You're going to be like, man, this is a pretty high-level audience. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on it. Follow me on Instagram. I put personal stuff over there, short videos, etc. It's Dr. Taylor Marshall, Dr. Taylor Marshall over there at Instagram. And also, if you want to support this podcast, I'll send you some signed books. I'll send you a rosary. There's different levels. You go to patreon.com/Dr. Taylor Marshall. You can support the show. And of course, you can also support by supporting today's sponsor, MyPillow. Make sure you use the promo code Taylor. Okay, we're jumping into your comments and your questions. I always handle the super chats first. So if you want to jump to the front of the line, hit up those super chats. Frankie Haro is the first one. He says, what are your thoughts on IVG, in vitro gametogenesis? I don't even know what that is. I'm sorry. See, I told you my audience was high IQ, high info, smart. They're asking me questions. I don't even know what that is. I know what IVF is, in vitro fertilization. I don't know what this is. And you know what, my friend? I'm going to look it up live on the air right now and just find out what it is. Hopefully IVG brings it up. Okay, sperm or egg from any cell. Ah, I see what it is. IVG involves custom making human eggs and sperm in the laboratory from any cell in a person's body. I'm against it straight up all day long, every day, every week, every month, every year. Yeah, so this is basically cloning. You take a cell from any person's body, and from that cell, you're able to custom make eggs and sperm. It's like Gattaca, the movie Gattaca. Yeah, I mean, this is evil. Look, let me break something down real clear for y'all. Break it down. God made humans, Adam and Eve. And yes, I believe Adam and Eve were real historical people. Laugh at me all you want. I believe it. It's in the good book. And he made Adam with procreative organs. I'm not going to say the names of those procreative organs because you already know. It's going through your head right now. And he made a woman. Her name was Eve, Hava in the Hebrew. She's the mother of all the living. Yes, I believe in a literal Eve. And God made her with procreative organs. And I'm not going to say the names of those as well. He also allowed for Eve to be able to provide nutrition for her children out of her own body. And he enabled her to have organs and a hormone profile so that she could also feed her children from her own body. Beautiful planning by the Creator, by the way. God, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost really did a beautiful thing here. Man and woman, he created them. And he said it was good. Now, Adam and Eve sinned. That plunged all of us into original sin. That's another show. But God designed the male and female body perfectly. And they function. And I happen to know that they function because I'm married to my beautiful wife, Joy. And we have 8 children. And so I know this stuff works, people. It works. All right. The hardware works. God designed it. And this is how we're supposed to have the babies. All right. Something happened in the 1900s where doctors working with drug companies said, you know, for thousands and thousands of years, human women, when they reach adolescence, the hormone profile adjusts so that it's different for every woman, but we'll just say on average 28 days, she goes through a cycle of ovulation. And that's a healthy woman. You know, you take a woman who's 18, 19, 20, you know, that's how God designed it. And he said, be fruitful and multiply. So it's beautiful. It's great. The doctors and the drug company said, we're going to make a pill that stops that healthy cycle, that process. It's called the birth control pill. And I wonder, is this the first time in human history in which doctors started saying, young lady, you are perfectly healthy. Everything is functioning as God intended it for you. So we're going to give you a pill to fix something that's not broken. In fact, we're going to give you a pill with synthetic fake hormones that is going to interrupt the natural process that God invented and that is functioning beautifully in your own body. We're going to give you a pill to destroy that cycle. That, my friends, is called demonic, devilish, satanic. The birth control pill interrupted women's health. And it was based on the lie that having children is bad. If you read the Bible, having children is good. God commands it. God desires it. And then God made all of these rules called laws and commandments to ensure that when a man and a woman come together, that they are committed to each other religiously with monogamy, fidelity, economic parity, and sharing of all things economic, and are united till death. Why? To ensure that the babies, when they're born, enter into a loving home that's financially stable, that's healthy, that's good. And then the parents are there because every baby needs a father and a mother. I know you've heard on television that that's not true, but it is true. You need a father and a mother, and they're there till death do us part to make sure that those children are launched into the world as educated, virtuous disciples of Jesus Christ, fearing and loving God. That's the plan, my friends. Now you throw in there, babies are bad, girl power, women need to have careers, women need to do everything that men do, and if they can't do those things and they need to take pills to interrupt their hormonal cycles, which are totally natural and normal. And then if that doesn't work, we're also going to do the A word, which is going to wreck you spiritually and psychologically for the rest of your life and fill you with regrets. But then you can continue to do all these other things over here. And that is the lie of feminism. And that is our current crisis. And then since we're going to go ahead and give pills to interrupt the natural rhythm of fertility in women, why don't we also give pills to make people go from one gender to the other? And then if we're going to do surgical removals of babies, we'll do surgical removals of other organs for cosmetic purposes and all these inversions. And that's where we are today. And I'm sad to say that Kamala is waving the flag. She's cheering all of this on. And there's people with good faith, goodwill, common sense that are just saying, stop. Let's get back to God's plan. Let's get back to nature. Let's get back to the rhythm of the seasons, the crops, healthy food, healthy fertility cycles, men with healthy testosterone levels, women with properly balanced hormones, not feeding our kids chemicals, pesticides, glyphosate, all this stuff. Can we just get back to the game plan? And my challenge for people listening, and especially if you're not 100% Catholic and you think the birth control pill is awesome, as long as you admit that, you're on that side. Because you're saying we should issue pharmaceuticals to people who are 100% healthy to make them become unhealthy, to make their bodies not do what God designed them to do. And that's craziness. And that's not that far from, Timmy wants to be Tina. Wild. Susie Glaze, super chat. Please pray for me and my family. My brother died 3 weeks ago. He was just 51. I feel so heartbroken. We're going to stop and pray for you. We're also going to pray for my friend Lisa Sipe, beautiful woman, mother of 12 children. I believe around 30 grandchildren. I've lost count. Lovely lady. Her husband's Greg. He's a friend of mine. He's in my Rosary Bible group. And she died tragically of cancer, but a beautiful Catholic woman. She died with her 10 or 12 children and all of her grandchildren around her deathbed at home, praying the Rosary. Anointed, apostolic pardon, received the Eucharist, and died peacefully in the grace of Jesus Christ. So we'll pray for the repose of her soul, Susie's brother, and anyone else out there who has lost a family member recently. And we'll do an Ave Maria. Oremus. Nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Fideli manime per misericordiam Dei, requiescant in pace. Amen. Nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Susie, God bless you. It's okay to mourn. It's natural. Frankie Haro, what about infertile couples that want their own biological children? IVG could help them. No. We are not allowed to be Frankenstein because it takes us down the path. Well, what if this? Well, what if this? Now, I know, and I've talked to people about this, and they're very quick to throw back at me, and I understand it. Well, you have 8 kids, so who are you to talk? And I get that. You know, I'm probably not the poster boy to get up here and speak against IVG, IVF, etc. Maybe that's someone else's calling. But we have to know our limits as created persons, as people. There are things that physically I'm not able to do. I could perhaps seek, I don't know, bionic help or something like that, you know, if I wanted to be like an NBA player or something like that. But there are certain limits, and some of us, sadly, carry the cross of infertility. And it is tragic. And I have friends who have struggled with this. I've met people, I've heard stories, I've read stories. It is truly tragic. And I want to sympathize. I can't imagine, you know, when Joe and I married, I was 23, she was 22. There was so much innocence and joy and excitement, and we kind of grew up together, and we got pregnant within the first 2-3 months of being married. But I can't imagine the pain and the sorrow of the first year going by, no baby, second year, third year, fourth year, going to the doctor, getting the news, and then trying to peacefully accept that. I get that that is a heavy, horrible, difficult cross. But the way that the Christians have always dealt with it is that we adopt. We adopt children. And if you're not able to have biological children in the natural way, you adopt. And I know people who have done that, and they have lovely families, the most beautiful children, you know, children who, you know, I know one family who basically got a child from a mother who was on crack cocaine. That child is thriving, you know, is going to mass, first communion, living a beautiful and wonderful life. So there is that element and there is that redemption, but we are not allowed to go in there and, you know, IVF includes, you know, the man goes in there, and I don't know if you've seen it, you know, they got the porn on the screen, and, you know, he self-abuses himself and puts his genetic material in a cup, you know, and they take that, and they extract a egg from the wife, and they go into the lab, and then doctors put it in a petri dish, and they look under my. That is not the way God designed it. That is not what we do. So the genesis of it, the beginning of it is against God's plan. And then once that happens, often there is a form of eugenics where they say, well, this one's a Downs embryo. You don't want that. Or this one, is stronger. This one's a male. This one's a female. Maybe 2 will take, maybe 3 will take. Sometimes 4 take, and then they go in and they do a reduction. Well, that's an A word. And then the embryos they don't use, they put in a freezer or they destroy them. All of this from A to Z is not the way God planned it. And you're dealing with a suffering, you're dealing with a pain. I want my biological children, but you're having to bring in numerous sins to get that outcome. And when you do that, the ends do not justify the means. I have to be the dad on the webcam saying that. And if it offends you, I'm sorry. All right. Jack says, any good Catholic conversation starters? Laugh out loud. Yeah. It got deep today. Super chat from Lori R. Thank you, Lori. Kamala is evil, she says. I believe God is allowing the Democrat Party to blatantly show their demonic agenda and removing the scales from many people's eyes to see how truly evil they are. It's definitely been a revelation, especially this stuff just in the last few days. It's like they're not even, at least with Joe, they were pretending. He was like, I was an altar boy when I was a kid. I'm devout practicing Catholic. I met the Pope, This is just like laughing in our faces. Taking the stereotypes, taking the tropes, and just throwing them in our faces. And I know there's people who are like, I am disgusted with the red side of the ballot, with the red ticket, the GOP. I'm mad at Donald over the IVF. As you just saw, I'm 100% against the IVF. His softening, Melania on the right, A rights, all that. I'm sitting out. I understand that position. And I'm not even going to tell you vote for the lesser of 2 evils. What I'm going to tell you is the principle of double effect. Principle of double effect is you intend to do a good. This is a Catholic philosophical principle. You intend to do a good, but there is a bad, not primary result, but a bad tangential result. All right, so let me pull up a YouTube appropriate. Okay, here's a really easy one. So a man needs an emergency surgery. It's a simple surgery. And you're in a situation where there's not access to hospitals, whatever, but there is a surgeon nearby. He gets a knife. It may not be surgically clean, but this is an essential surgery. And he cuts open into the man and he does what needs to be done, and the man's life is saved. Okay. Taking a knife that's not clean and plunging it into the body of a person is usually seen as gravely sinful and something that you would not want to do. In fact, if you did that to someone on the street, that would be gravely evil. You would go to jail for a long time, hopefully, right? But the intention of the man was to remove the malady, to save his life, to open up an airway, to whatever it is, right? Remove a bullet, or I don't know, right? Even if he were to die accidentally from that, or if it were to expose him to another danger or whatever, the principle of double effect is the intention and the circumstance in that situation. The primary effect was to bring about a good. And that's kind of how I see the election. Obviously, I disagree with the Donald on so many issues. And honestly, I'm disappointed on many levels on the 2024 campaign. But I look at it and I'm like, we can intend some good things here with a vote on the red side of the ballot. So I've kind of got to the point where I'm not holding my nose and saying I'm voting for the lesser of 2 evils. I'm saying there is some good on this side of the ballot. And when I cast my vote, I'm not voting for the lesser of evils. I'm voting for what I see are positives here. And if there are negatives attached to the Donald or down ballot GOP candidates, those are not my intentions. I'm trying to make a vote, a ballot, and focus on what good can be done with it. And there may be fallout from that. That is negative, but that is not my intention. So I hope that makes sense. That's how I'm navigating it. I'd love to see if you agree or disagree with me. Happy to take you in the comments or super chats. Susie says, I've said this before on here before. I was only blessed with 2 children, so I fostered children. I really love it. Beautiful, Susie. What a saint. Lovely. Simon Cooper. Can you do a video about Thomas Zimmer, the Hermit of Loretto, and his prophecy about Trump leading America back to God? I think I did a long time ago. I remember covering this topic. It probably would have been like 2019, maybe. Is that about when that came out? So I'd have to revisit it. I don't know if that's come back into the news cycle or not. But yeah, I'll look back into that. Thomas Zimmer, the Hermit of Loretto. Sam says, yeah, I have a L-word married family member who they did the IVF and had an ectopic pregnancy in Wisconsin. Baby died. I don't agree with what they do. The hospital named it which I don't get. It's very sad. It's very difficult. And, you know, part of this, I do believe that culpability for persons in these situations, I think it is somewhat mitigated in our time. Again, like I said, natural law is on every human's heart. They can't get away from that. No one can say I didn't have natural law. God knows there's natural law in everybody's heart. But we live in such a society where, you know, of course there's going to be confusion for adolescents growing up, you know, exposure to illicit videos and images, hormones in the water, giving girls synthetic hormones, the birth control pill. I just told you about that. The cocktails of all kinds of things that are injected and infused into the bloodstream, our diet, all the plastics, you know, that are in cups and bottles and food containers and the fast food that you eat and all of this stuff. And then you have all the cultural things, which are telling you men are evil, patriarchy bad, Christianity is evil, the Bible is bad. We need a atheistic, tolerant society. Do whatever you want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. And the people who always say that end up hurting themselves, you know? And so there's a lot of people. What's interesting is we're seeing as time goes on, we're seeing girls who were on, you know, that fans website. You know what I'm talking about, the fans website. People who, you know, changed their identity. They went from a Timmy to a Tina and then back and all. People are starting to go through very perverse lifestyles, very difficult lifestyles, drugs, addictions, alcohols, and many of them are finding Jesus Christ. Hopefully in the Catholic Church, but they're finding Jesus, they're transforming their lives, and they're realizing that what they were taught on cartoons and after school television shows and in movies, Hollywood, what they were taught in public schools, all of this conditioned them, throw in their unhealthy lifestyles, hormone disruptions. All of this is a giant cocktail. It's a giant thunderstorm leading people to make these bad decisions. So I do believe the culpability is reduced, but I also believe that those of us who have grace of God in our heart, not by our own merits, but by the gift of God, by those of us who understand the world as God made it. We have a Christian worldview, and we understand, for example, that God made men with certain procreative parts and women with and those make babies. And because there's babies have rights. and babies need to live, and they need to be healthy, and they need to get the right food and the right schools and the right home, and they need to have economic stability, and they need to go to church, and they need to learn the 10 Commandments, and they need to take a course on logic so they know how to think, and rhetoric so they know how to talk and present themselves, give speeches, guide thoughts, persuade people for the truth. That's what we need. So those of us, it's, we, in a way, we shouldn't sit with our arms crossed, looking down on them. What we should be doing is saying, there's an answer, there's a solution, there's grace, there's mercy, there's a newness of life, there's a rebirth that's possible, and it's through Jesus Christ. A lot of people don't like that offer because Jesus says, take up your cross and follow me. He says, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. So it's not just the cheap grace gospel of, I accept Jesus as my personal Lord and Savior, and I go and live like a hellion, or I go and return to my vomit. There's an expectation of a transformation. But God gives the grace. The Holy Spirit gives the grace for that transformation. Going back into Super Chats. All right, we're done with Super Chats. I'll go into the general. You can always do a Super Chat if you want. Man, some of these are some spicy comments, okay? I got to be careful. Y'all are throwing some Louisiana Cajun spice into today's comments. Gene Miller says, Jesus knew you before he needed you in the womb. Yes, God is present. When a sperm and an egg come together, a new human life is created, and God infuses in that moment a soul. Not 9 months later when the baby comes out. When the sperm and the egg come together and that embryo is formed, God breathes in a soul. The baby is ensouled. All right. Yeah, y'all are spicy today. I don't know. Big Gator Caesar says, both candidates will do what their donors tell them to do. They don't work for you. They work for the donor class. And you're right, Big Gator. In a sense, they will adjust to fit popular perception, move polls, conform to the Overton window in society. But at the end of the day, we live in a degenerate democracy. Yeah, but Taylor, it's a constitutional republic. Don't you know that? Yeah, I know that on paper, but we are, hard times create good men create soft times create soft men. We're at the bottom of that degeneration. And the way our government works right now is not the way the founding fathers of America set it up. All right. The founding fathers, if you said, hey, a founding father, should a 18-year-old girl vote? They would say, no, absolutely not. What are you talking about? Right. So what we're living in now is not the constitutional republic that was founded by the founding fathers. We all need to recognize that. Okay. And now we live in a culture of multimedia and, again, advertisements, marketing, campaigns, all that not known to the early republic. Now, in order to run for president, I mean, you're looking at Kamala here, $1 billion. $1 billion. $1 billion to run for president. $1 billion, you got to get that $1 billion from somebody. And guess who that is? Donors. And it's not from grandma sending in checks for $8. You're dealing with the Black Rocks of the world. You're dealing with Arabs, mega oil companies, drug companies, agricultural companies, right? The big movers and shakers in technology, Apple, Google. I almost said Google. I guess that would be if Apple and Google joined together. Google, Apple, Google, Amazon, NVIDIA. All of these groups have hundreds, billions, and they pull the strings. And so if they help give you the billion for the marketing that you need to run in our crummy democracy, which is super weak and cringe and lame and every word I can think of, you have to get that money. It's like the Wu-Tang Clan song, Cream. Cash rules everything around me. Cream. Get the money. Dollar, dollar bill, y'all. So yeah, at the end of the day, the guys in Senate and in the Congress and the president, governors, all those guys, they may know, well, my constituency really wants this, but the oil company did give me that much money, so I'm going to issue the permit or not issue the permit or whatever it is. And that's just the crummy form of government that we live in. Right? One of the benefits of, say, a monarchy or a constitutional monarchy is that monarchs are not constantly having to sell out to keep their power. Remember, a senator, a congressman, a president, they have to sell out every 4, 6 years, 2 years. They have to constantly sell out to remain in power. The permanence isn't there. Yeah, but Taylor, there's bad kings and stuff. Yeah, there are bad kings. There's great kings. Imagine if we didn't have to go through a psychological breakdown and have marketing thrown in our face every 4 years. Think about if we took all that money, all that resource, all that energy, all that stress, and we put it towards educating children religiously so they know the 10 Commandments and logic and basic catechism. It'd be a completely different society. What if we took all that money and helped veterans? What if we did all that money and built housing, subsidized housing? Any of these things would be great. Let's see here. Facts says, Dr. Marshall, any prayers you would recommend for family members who have fallen away from the faith? I know it is off topic. No, my brother, it is on topic. To pray for your family, I would recommend 2 things. And again, I'm not perfect in this. Not all my family members are strong Christians or practicing Catholics. But from what I've been told by holy men and women, by clergy, one of the most profound things you can do is fast and do penance for your family. So unless you have a medical problem, if you're healthy like me, you can just say, I'm not going to eat for 24 hours on Friday. And I'm going to offer those hunger pains and those prayers for the conversion of Uncle Jimmy, Cousin Alan. And then prayers that you can do is you can often ask their guardian angel to prepare them to accept the gospel. And then if they are your children or your spouse, you can actually ask Jesus regularly. I would say daily if you can. Ask Jesus to remove any fell spirits, any demons, any unclean spirits from their life. If there's demons of temptation, of addiction, pornography, any of those things, ask Jesus to start to remove those dark forces. And then ask Jesus to give you the graces, if you're the one to be chosen, to help bring that person to Christ. So you got to be very specific, right? Don't just say, I want Charlie to become a Catholic. Say, Jesus, if there's demons pulling him away, please, by your blood, push those demons away. Strengthen his guardian angel so that he's ready to hear the gospel. Give me the right words to say. If there's a book I need to give him, show me the book, right? And then, of course, you need to live a holy Christian Catholic lifestyle worthy of being a disciple of Jesus Christ. All right. Support today's sponsor, MyPillow. Guys and girls, but guys, get the slippers. I'm telling you, get the MyPillow slippers. Will not regret. Mine have the the fur lining on it and the rubber sole. They're comfortable. They're amazing. You can go outside, go to the backyard, water the grass, whatever. Your feet are dry. The water doesn't get up in the leather. It's great. You can also get that special pillow offer that's going on right now. Limited time. Go to mypillow.com/Taylor. You can also support the channel over at patreon.com. And if you're looking to move from a blue state to a red state, blue county, red county, you want to move to where there's a conservative Catholic school, a traditional Latin mass, etc., I recommend realestateforlife.org. They will put you in contact with a real estate agent in your area, and if you want, in the area where you want to go, and they will help the process go smoothly, and they share your values and your concerns. That's why I always recommend realestateforlife.org. There's lots of y'all moving to different states right now. So I encourage you, go to realestateforlife.org. And of course, tell them you heard about them from the Dr. Taylor Marshall Show. That helps support this podcast as well. Thanks for watching. Remember, Jesus has a plan for you. He's giving you graces. He wants you to be in heaven. He wants your entire family, your friends to be in heaven. Pray every day. Be sensitive to him. Read the Bible every day. Find a traditional Latin Mass. Pray the Rosary every day, or you're not on the team. And remember, our Lord Jesus Christ says you're the light of the world and the salt of the earth. So go out there and be salty. God bless and Godspeed.